Welcome back, everyone. This is part 2 of our Teaching Kids to Cook Instructor Series. We're focusing on knife safety in the kitchen. But before we dive into all that sharp stuff, let's do a really quick review. In part 1, we covered our 12 essential kitchen rules. Things like thoroughly washing our hands, wearing closed-toe shoes, keeping long hair tied back, and the absolute importance of germ jail for those unexpected sneezes. Safety is our top priority, and we're building right on top of those rules today. So if you're ready to level up your skills, let's get started. Before we begin, there's something important I'd like to share. These videos are designed to support parents, teachers, camp leaders, and cooking instructors. They are educational tools, not a substitute for direct adult supervision. Adults are the gatekeepers. Please watch each lesson first and decide how it best fits your students' ages, abilities, and learning needs. When these videos are combined with thoughtful instruction and active supervision, they can help create a safer, more confident, and more enjoyable cooking experience for everyone.
Hello, class. I am so incredibly excited to be your instructor today. Now, I know knives can be a little intimidating to some parents and students, but in this kitchen, we treat them with respect and just a smidge of healthy fear. After all, a knife's job is to cut. You have to remember a knife is a tool, not a toy. My goals here are to help you avoid an injury and to build up the confidence of a chef. Before we even touch the blade today, we're going to structure our workflow like a professional chef would. We'll be covering 4 main steps. First, the setup for your cutting board and workstation. Second, the anatomy of a quality knife and choosing the right one for you. Third, the mechanics, focusing on your grip and guiding hand. And fourth, the protocol for movement with a knife in your hand and safely cleaning your knife. All right, let's jump right into section 1, the setup. Just like episode 1, we set up our workstation before we even look at a knife. We need to use our mise en place, which is a French term that means everything in its place. You should remember that from episode 1. This means setting up your cutting board and workstation so you aren't scrambling once the cooking actually starts. Now, a slipping cutting board is a major hazard if you're using a plastic board or one of those thin mats. Simply place a damp paper towel underneath the plastic board or mat to keep it from sliding around. But listen closely here. If you're using a wooden cutting board, never use a damp cloth near it. Moisture is the absolute enemy of wood and will cause it to warp. Instead, use a dry rubber grip liner, like the kind you might find in a cupboard or as a drawer liner, to keep it perfectly steady. And one more pro tip, place a trash bowl right there on your counter for all your scraps. It keeps your cutting board clear and saves you from constantly walking back and forth to the garbage can. When you're prepping your food, always cut a flat surface into round fruits or vegetables first. By stabilizing your food and giving it a flat base, you prevent it from rolling away and causing accidental slips. Let's get into section 2, choosing your knife. When looking for a good quality knife, you're going to look for a full tang knife when possible. What's a full tang knife? I'm glad you asked. Full tang just means the metal of the blade runs all the way up through to the very end of the handle. You will be able to see rivets in the handle if it is a full tang knife. Cheap knives that are made of 2 separate pieces can literally snap under pressure. A full tang knife is strong. It's dependable, and it guarantees the knife won't break in half if you apply downward force. And of course, always make sure the knife is in good condition. No loose handles and no chips in the blade. Now, I have a quick question for the class. Which do you think is actually more dangerous? A sharp knife or a dull knife? Take a second and really think about it. Believe it or not, a dull knife is actually much more dangerous. A dull knife requires you to use a lot more physical force to push through your ingredients. A razor-sharp knife actually keeps you safe because it cuts cleaner and lets the weight of the knife do the work for you. The best way to choose a safe chef's knife is to find the right fit for the student's hand, regardless of their age. If a child's hand is too small to comfortably wrap around an adult-sized 8-inch chef's knife, they simply aren't going to have proper control. Obviously, this is dangerous. So, for our young chefs, or honestly anyone with smaller hands, I highly recommend starting with a 6-inch chef's knife for a child who has demonstrated dexterity. For smaller hands, it is okay to start out with a nylon knife and cut soft things like strawberries and bananas to begin with to practice. Use a small paring knife when appropriate. Okay, let's continue with Section 3, the mechanics. Proper grip and guide to hold your knife like a true pro. You want to use your dominant hand to pinch the blade between your thumb and index finger right at the bolster. The bolster is that thick metal part where the blade meets the handle. Your dominant hand is the hand you use to write with. Then, wrap your remaining 3 fingers securely around the handle itself. This pinch grip gives you maximum control so the knife doesn't spin in your hand. But I have to warn you, never, ever rest your index finger flat on top of the blade. I see people do this all the time, and it's a huge mistake. It causes severe wrist fatigue and completely destabilizes your control over the knife. Now for your other hand, what we call your guiding hand. We use a technique called the bear claw method. For our much younger students, we always recommend wearing a cut-resistant or Kevlar glove on that guiding hand, just for an extra layer of safety. Let's break down the exact rules of the bear claw. Number 1, curl those fingers and your thumb inward. Number 2, let the flat side of the knife rest gently against your knuckle. And here is the most important rule. Never raise the knife edge above your knuckles. Seriously, as long as you can feel the smooth steel resting against your knuckle and you never lift the sharp edge higher than that point, your fingertips are quite safe. When it comes to actually moving the blade, you need to use a smooth forward and backward rocking motion. You see, a knife works a lot like a saw, only on a much smaller level. If you just chop straight down, there is resistance, but the moment you push forward a little or pull backward while letting the weight of the knife do the pressing down, the knife is just gonna glide effortlessly. Let the tool do the work. And if you're finding this video helpful and you're learning something new today, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give it a like and share. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 4, movement and cleaning. When you need to move through a busy kitchen with your knife, you must hold it down at your side with the tip pointed straight toward the floor and the sharp edge facing backward and away from your body. Always announce your movement loudly by saying, "behind" or "sharp," so everyone else knows to steer clear. And remember, we do not hand knives directly to other people. Just don't do it. If your friend or instructor needs to use your knife, place it flat on the countertop and step away so the other person can pick it up safely themselves. A falling knife is treacherous. Never try to catch it. You absolutely have to override that reflex. Just step back. Let the knife hit the floor and keep your hands safe. Let's talk about cleaning. First, you always want to clean as you go. You never want to leave a mess for someone else to clean up. That's not very nice at all, and that person may never let you cook in their kitchen again. That's another reason to have a trash bowl close to you. Easy cleanup. Something very important to remember and not forget: never, ever leave a knife hiding in a sink full of soapy water or buried under a kitchen towel. Someone might reach in blindly and get a really nasty cut. It's basically a bad day waiting to happen, and it could be you who reaches into the dishwater only to be sliced by a blade. This goes for anything that is sharp, like the cheese grater, or the blades from inside a food processor or blender. Just because they don't look like knives does not mean they won't cut your flesh just as badly as a knife. Please be careful. Tell an adult immediately if you see something sharp going into the dishwater, even if it was the adult who made that mistake. Prevent an accident. It's a good idea to wash knives immediately after use by hand. But without putting them in the sink, how do you do that? Use a soapy cloth and always wipe outward from the spine. The spine is the dull top part of the blade. Wipe downward from the top to the sharp edge. Never slide your sponge back and forth over the cutting edge itself. Ouch! Oh, and please never put your good knives in the dishwasher. The intense heat, harsh detergent, and water will absolutely ruin both the handle and the blade. Adults, to keep your knife performing beautifully over time, you should maintain your edge by gently realigning the blade with a honing steel before each use. It realigns those microscopic teeth. Instead of being dull and rounded like we talked about in episode 1, the steel can keep your blade nice and sharp. Great job today, everyone! Knife safety is serious business, and I know you will now handle knives with respect like an absolute professional. Today we learned that a safe kitchen starts with a steady cutting board, a knife that perfectly fits your hand, and of course, mastering that bear claw grip. By following these rules, you're staying safe and smart. Before we go, a little quiz. Is the trash bowl a part of mise en place? If your answer is yes, you were really paying attention. Because having a place close to your workstation to hold your scraps and other things to be thrown away is a smart idea. Less traveling through the kitchen means less chance to bump into someone and cause an accident. Last question. When the metal runs the full length of the knife, that is a full tang knife. True or false? True.
If you enjoyed today's lesson, be sure to watch the next episode in our Teach Kids to Cook Instructor Series. There's always something new to discover in the kitchen. If you're a parent, teacher, camp leader, or instructor, visit kathytrill.com for classroom tools, printable resources, and teaching materials that go along with this series. See you next time when we talk about food safety.
Have fun and be safe in the kitchen.